Well, another very successful weekend for those little walleyes. We welcome in Matt Melzak. And Matt, before we get to the action on the ice, let's touch on what's been going on off the ice as the walleye always good about giving back to the community. And this past week, a couple of really highlighted events for the walleye.
Yeah, no question about it. You had the skate out at the Glass City Metro Park, the ribbon, where it sold out for that night with the Toledo Walleye there. And then you look at Sunday before the Super Bowl, they go to the sled hockey game. A lot of folks there, you know, kind of supporting the adaptive sports programs. So really good stuff. Giving back to the community, which this team is so good at. The amount of times we've had school visits out there and players going out to talk to kids. I mean, it's really something that the players really enjoy getting behind and helping out in the community.
As we said, a successful weekend as they took 4 points from Fort Wayne, and now the Comets are in third place in the Central. Iowa is in second as Toledo's continue to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the division, and they are tied for the Brabham Cup lead now as well.
Yeah, and I mean, those are long-term, still out there a little ways yet, Mark, as far as goals are concerned. Your first order of business is to not only just clinch a playoff spot, but to get that Central division, because that gives you that home ice, those first 2 rounds of the playoffs. You get into the conference finals, you're playing great teams anyway. It hasn't mattered over the years whether Toledo's at home ice or not. You're playing a great team at that point. Same thing in the finals. Now, is it nice to have? No question about it. When you could start a series at home and finish a series at home, it's very important. But the first order of business is, you know, get that Central Division title and then start looking out to those other things, the conference, the Brabham Cup, which you mentioned, they're tied now with Florida. So, I mean, there is some big goals out there that you could get and you'd like to have, but you know, you gotta get those other ones first. Check a few more off, then you can start looking out that far.
And as we've seen in the last couple of years, just because it's not home ice, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a 2-3-2 format. There's a lot of different variables. All that will take care of itself come April and May and maybe into June. But let's continue to focus on February and Tyler Spezia. What a weekend for that young man as he continues to burn it up on the ice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have looked a lot at Brandon Hawkins. He's the leader in points. You're thinking, oh, you know, he's the king of this ship right now. But then you start looking, and all of a sudden Tyler Spezia's right there, just a couple of spots behind him in the standings. And you know, for Toledo to have that kind of a 1-2 punch, let's not forget about Trenton Bliss on that line as well. That is a line that just no matter when you need something productive to happen, that line can come through for you. And they've done it time in, time out. You look at the game Friday in Fort Wayne, they led the charge there. Same thing on Saturday against a very good opponent, one that's desperate to get some wins right now because they've been kind of tailing a little bit in the standings. So, you know, they knew they were going to get their best, and they certainly did, especially on Saturday. Some great goaltending there. But Toledo really dominated that game, and it started from that top line. This is a big weekend in Iowa. You're going to see Iowa coming up at home in a couple weeks too. So you've still got some games against the Heartlanders, but this weekend it'll be a nice one if you can go on the road and get it done.
All right, looking forward to those road games, Matt, and looking forward to the Fish getting home. That'll be in 2 weeks. They got the next 4 on the road, so they'll be able to make some hay away from the barn.